YouTubers, my name is Attila Mate from Blue Sky Photography, and today I would like to talk to you about this little bad boy. And this camera would be the Panasonic FZ330. Now probably you would ask the question, why would you review a camera which is not new, like it's on the market since 2 years almost now. Well, I have to tell you something. My neighbor, he wanted to buy a camera because he's going on a trip, and he wanted to buy something, and he asked my opinion, what do I think and what kind of camera he should buy. And I was looking around, for him a little bit, and I suggested to him this camera. And he actually bought this camera. The truth is that before I just put my hand once on this camera in the Panasonic store when I was in there. But looking at the specifications, I knew that this for him, it would be the great choice. So I recommended him, and he bought this camera. And immediately after he received the camera, he told me that he would be very happy if I would look on the camera and just test out, and just say my opinion about this camera. So I had this camera since 3-4 days now, something like that. And I was playing around with it, and I shot a lot of photos and videos with this camera, and I have to tell you that I am amazed about this camera. So that's why I decided to make a review of this camera, because I think that this is an excellent small little thing, Now, first of all, we have to know that this camera is the sensor size, it's smaller like the 1-inch sensor. It's the 1/2.3 inch sensor, and what that would be is, I will place a picture up here on the screen so you can see the size difference between the 1-inch and the 1/2.3 inch sensor. But I tell you, if you have good lighting outside or even inside, if you are in a controlled environment, this camera could produce some amazing images. And you will see later on some images, what I've shot with this camera. And I tell you that I was actually blown away by the quality of this thing, And this camera, it's 500 euro at the moment in Europe, in Ireland. It might be possible that you might get the camera with 400 somewhere else, maybe 450 US dollar in the United States, I'm not sure now. But roughly it is around that price point, which is less than half of the price of the Panasonic FZ2000/2500, Now, that I own that camera, and I know that the two cameras are not really comparable, because that is a very different camera. And I will make a video about this, comparing video quality of the FZ330 and the FZ2000, which is again, is not really comparable. But in the same time, if you are only shooting for your family, on holiday or something, you would be able to see the quality and the difference, if there is any difference. So let's dive into it a little bit, and let's see some key factors and some important things about this camera. Now, first of all, again, this camera, like other Panasonic cameras, they are very good video cameras. Now, I have to tell you that this camera is on the market since 2 years, and it shoots some brilliant 4K video. Now, it does in Ultra HD, so it's not in cinematic 4K like the FZ2000. That's the difference. But in the same time, the Ultra HD is fine, completely fine. So let's see some specifications. Now, the lens of this camera, it is from 25 to 600 millimeter, comparable with 35 millimeter, and that would be an f2.8 constant throughout the zoom range. And that is the reason why I recommended this camera to my neighbor, because I was 100% sure, that this constant f2.8 will compensate a little bit the smaller sensor. And that is true, I have to tell you. Now, I've shot a few images with this camera, and I've shot a few images with the FZ2000, and I compared them, and I will show you in the other video. So if you want to see that video, please subscribe, and so you don't miss that video. But I will upload that in a few days time. Anyway, the image quality of this camera for family, I'm not talking about professional use, but if you want this camera for a holiday, you know, just to have around, and a compact one in all package, you know, this is very, very good, I have to tell you. And like I said, it's f2.8 from 25 to 600 millimeter, which can be extended with digital zoom. I would not recommend that, so let's just not talk about that, because in my opinion that's not good. So I wouldn't recommend at all to do that. But 600 millimeter, it is more than enough, whatever you need, you know, like for your needs. So let's see some more specifications. As you can see over here, the lens extends when you are zooming. I'll show you. So when you zoom, the lens will extend, and when you zoom back, you know, it will come back. When you switch off the camera, the lens will pull back. This is the final position of the lens, and then you switch on the camera. This is the telephoto end of the lens, and this is the 25 millimeter, the wider side. Now you have on this side of the lens, you will have two switches. One is for the zoom, so you can zoom electronically, and you don't have actually a physical zoom ring over here, so you cannot turn anything, but you will have the button over here, so you can zoom from the button. And the second is for manual focus, so you won't have a manual focus ring on it, but you will have a dial, which one you can turn around if you switch on manual focus, and then you can focus manually from here. Now, in regards the screen, it has a tilty flippy screen like most of the Panasonic cameras, and it is a touch screen. This screen is okay. I was shooting in bright sunlight outside, and you could see normally, you know, I didn't have any difficulty seeing the screen, so it was grand, you know, no problem at all. The viewfinder is nice and bright again, you know. You can just close the screen, you know, and just look at the viewfinder. I wouldn't say it's as good as the viewfinder on the FZ2000, but that is acceptable again, because it will be like half price, you know, the camera is just half price. But anyway, let's get back to the camera. So it has the lens has optical image stabilization, 5-axis optical image stabilization, and I tell you, in video and in photo it works like a charm, no problem. And I was shooting some video, you know, just walking around handheld, and I tell you that I was amazed, you know, how the optical stabilization it works actually. So it was very, very good. Now a few other things, you know, the handling of the camera, it is good. It has a big grip, you know, it's grand. It's not, for me, it's not as good as the FZ2000's handling, because that is obviously bigger. I have pretty big hands, and for me the FZ2000, it is better, you know. Obviously the button layout will be a little bit better on the FZ2000 like on this one, but this one has also, for a point and shoot camera, it is very, very customizable, you know, and it has like 1, 2, 3, 4 function buttons, you know, which one you can assign, you know, however you like. And I tell you that for a point and shoot camera, it is great, you know, the customizability of the camera. Now the battery is down here. It is the same battery like in the FZ2000, exactly the same battery. The SD card slot is just here near the battery, and this is a little bit of disadvantage, because when you put the tripod plate on it, you will have to take care because you might not be able to open up, you know, the battery door. So that's a little bit of a issue, I would say. But if you don't really use tripod, you know, then it's not an issue for you. But if you try to use tripod, you know, you have to watch that. Otherwise, all the time you have to take it off, you know, the tripod plate, and put it back on. Now it has a built-in flash, you know, which one I never use, because I use flash on the top, you know, in the hot shoe. If I want to use flash, I will use over there. Now I don't really want to talk about all the specifications, you know, and how many frames per second it shoots. You know, it shoots all the usual Panasonic stuff, you know, like 4K video, 4K photo, and there is 30 frames a second, and I think it's like 30 minutes limit, you know, like you can shoot, and then you can just pick out one of the frames, you know. That's truly, I've never used those. I have that in my FZ2000. I never used that. Usually I shoot manual, you know, I don't want to shoot in JPEG, I shoot in RAW, so this camera shoots also in RAW. And I have to tell you that I shot some photos with this camera in RAW, and I was editing the photos, and I was blown away by the dynamic range of this camera, because it's a 1/2.3 sensor, you know, and the dynamic range, when I compared with the FZ2000, which is a 1-inch sensor, which is pretty big, much like bigger like this one. And I tell you something, the dynamic range of the sensor, you know, it was kind of very close, you know, to each other. So I was very surprised. I shot, you know, like directly in the sun, 2 photos, and then I did try to pull out from the shadows, you know, pull out some details. And I tell you that this camera, this little thing, was very close to my FZ2000. So the dynamic range, you know, it was very good on it. Now, the weight of the camera, I don't really know. I will look up, you know, and I will put up here, you know, but like I said, all those specifications you can look up if you want. That doesn't really matter. What I would say, it is very important that this camera video capability, it is excellent. It has a mic input over here, and when you put in the mic, if you want a shotgun mic, you know, just on the top of the camera, like I did it when I was shooting video with this camera, I put my recorder up here and I connected directly to the camera. What is very important, when you put your mic up here and you turn the screen, the mic cable will not be in the way of the screen. You can still turn the screen, you know, because the mic input is up here and the screen is able to turn even if you have the cable plugged in, and that is important, I would say. Now, it's important when you shoot vlogging style, you know, just like that, then it is important. But I tell you, some cameras, they don't have that, and in my opinion, that would be a bummer, because sometimes, you know, when you turn the screen and you have all the cables over there, that's not really comfortable. So that is a good thing. Again, this camera shoots full HD, and it shots slow motion at HD quality, you know, and it shots ultra slow motion, you know, in VGA, I think, or something like that. But that's, I don't really use those kind of things. If you want to be creative, you know, it's in there. The quality, obviously it will not be like 4K or full HD or something like that, but still, like I said, this is a great little camera. Now, I shot in full HD as well, in 4K as well, in video, and I have to tell you that I was amazed with the quality, because as we know, for 4K, you know, and for video, you don't really need big sensors. Now, obviously, if you have bigger sensor, you have bigger pixels, so that means that in low light, the camera will be better, you know, that's not the question. But in the same time, like I said, if you have good lighting conditions and you go on a family holiday, you just want a nice little camera, you know, to have with you, this is a good choice. And I tell you, I'm really tempted, I tell you, to buy one of these just to have like a second video camera near my FZ2000, honestly. You have here some connections, you know, the remote control and the HDMI output. Just a few thoughts finally. I would say that this camera, if you want to have a good all-around package for affordable money, like I said, it's about 500 euro, this is the way to go. I mean, it's unbelievably good for that money. And I tell you, I used to have a point and shoot camera, you know, before the FZ2000. I used to have, that was my first digital camera actually. Before that I was shooting with film. So when I moved into the digital world, first I bought a point and shoot. I just wanted to see how it is, you know, and I bought a Pentax point and shoot, which was roughly kind of the same like this one. And but this camera, you know, this is nothing like that. I mean, this is much better. And I tell you that this camera is on the market since 2015, if I'm not wrong, something like that. So almost 2 years now. But in the same time, this camera, I think it will be for many years on the market, because it's a big success, I tell you. Many people use this camera. It's a constant f2.8 lens, optical stabilization, great image quality, you know. What else do you need, like, you know? 4K video, it's everything in it. So, I hope that this video was helpful to you guys. I hope that you liked it. And if you have some question in regards to FZ330 or FZ300 in US, or I don't know how they call it, Panasonic have this habit, you know, to call different names in different regions, you know, his cameras. Anyway, FZ330 in Europe. So if you have any question in regards to this camera, please feel free and leave a comment down below and ask. I will post a few pictures, you know, at the end of the video, full screen, so you can see what I'm talking about. And you could see the video quality as well, you know, just in the screen, so you can see, I mean, there's nothing really to see much, you know, because this is like a brilliant 4K quality, you know. So I hope that this video was helpful to you guys. I hope that you liked it. If you liked it, please like and subscribe and share my videos. And other than that, I wish you a nice day, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care, guys.
We will fly above the sky. We are heroes tonight. Town to town.